When you fight fire with fire, it seems like fire wins. This Venom Crash AD carry takes over the game somehow at the end of it. But how did it start? Because it kind of resembled that it was going towards NLS.
Yeah.
With
Especially with the way that we were waiting for each other to start, right? But like I've pile drived in there, right? We're all in. Especially the way that like top side and mid section was going. Tristana was getting a pretty significant lead. Trist, very, very strong champion in the current meta, particularly when paired in towards that core key. That snowballs very, very heavily. The Cassante on top side, able to get big advantages over Lenny. It was looking like that flank that they would need to separate Tristana from everyone else wasn't going to happen. Luckily, Tristana, with the help of, at some points, the Sedge, was able to find a way in towards the enemy team. She is a very high mobility champion after all. She needs to grief. She can grief as fast as she wants. And they were able to pick up kills, pick up big kills for Lingard specifically that you've noted on that AP brand. And shockingly enough, AP champions plus items, match made in heaven.
I mean, lest we forget, right? Season 4 Wild Turtle Malphite cosplay with several Tristana Ws. Sumi, maybe not quite to the same extent, but with the same result, unfortunately, this game ended up with a couple of Ws that didn't quite land as they had intended to. But, you know, props to Venom Crest as well. They spotted the Tristana who's put themselves in a vulnerable position. They've capitalized on that. They've taken down Sumi, and they've been able to find the fight afterwards. That final team fight in the red side jungle was just a brand's dream in heaven, right? You're stood there, you're just watching everybody clump up. So many passive procs. The Pyroclasm's just rattling around all the tanks as well. Percent health is going crazy, and Lingard for me felt a little bit tricky to decide who I felt was the MVP for Venom Crest this time around, but I think that Lingard's just consistency this game, got the damage, got the items in, and was there to pump out the DPS in a good position, led it in for me.
And he was the one being the wild card. Usually we look at Pretty Fresh as the wild card, but he was the one taking it down. So let's talk with Kenny from LLS to understand a little bit more about the champion select and how the game went. Kenny, because it looked like it was interesting with the swine and all that, but out of sudden, well, Brand took over. What's your thoughts about this game at the end of it?
Well, I think our game went very good early game. I think they just punished our macro mistakes and get some picks out before objectives that make them come back into the game.
And when you look into, they were talking about Sumi and the Tristana, do you believe like the willingness and that hunger to get those kills, the early kills and the resets, put LLS in a favorable position?
I think we played really good around the mid lane early game. We had a plan that we wanted to punish mid lane. I think it went very well. We had the good lead early, mid top side, as we wanted.
Then when you look at the first half of the split, what's your takeaway of how LLS played and how do you look into the second half?
Well, I think we have our mistakes that we can learn from, and I think we can look like a strong contender to do good in the second half of the split. I think the players are very eager to improve, so it makes it very easy to like work with as well.
When you look into the remaining matches, like you have a revenge statement right now, what is the team that you're looking forward to fight the most and why?
Well, I think we need a redemption game after our last game against Nord. I think we didn't show what we actually capable of doing. We got straight up stomped against Nord. I think we want to take a little bit of revenge on them.
Yeah, that's not the image of LLS. Like the game versus Nord is not the way you played until now. I understand that, Kenny. Thank you so much for the interview. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and best of luck through the remaining part of the split.
3 for 3 for Nord. Just everybody.
3 for 3.
Everybody. Just bullying the kid on the playground. Absolutely.
Nord is just shaking on the corner like, guys, chill, calm down.
Well, it's like I love Hunt, right? Problem is, I was bullying him on stream today, right? So I'm kind of joining in with everybody here. Like it becomes really difficult. I feel like I want to defend, but I can't. Like my actions today have also. I agree with everyone, to be honest. I love this unity within the NLC community right now, relative to Nord.
Yeah, everybody wants to look at Nord as, yeah, you're the first team to take down, so let's take you down. Everybody is joining on the efforts to take down Nord. It's a lovely sight to behold. Let's talk with Venom Crest, though. They just got a victory out of this one, so let's head on to the interview. It is with Simpy. Obviously, you stood by the brand the entire game. Whose idea was it to pull the brand card?
Mine. Like we wanted to go another pick, but I said no, go brand, go brand. Like, and I said like 7 times till we pick brand.
At the beginning of the game and until mid-game, did you feel comfortable playing it? Did you realize, hey, we're going for the late game, don't worry guys. It may look like it's a light side game, but it's a Venom Crest.
I mean, honestly, I think like early game from the killing bot lane and then the roam I did top, I think the game should be pretty over if we play normal. Like, we have the scale and we have normal lanes, like they cannot punish us. They have really shit champions overall as well, but we started to get caught a lot randomly, which led to them having lead, and then it happened. But
So tell me something. I have a question. This is a universal question. I have to do it to everybody right now. First half of the split is done. When you look into the second half, there's a lot of games. Is there any team that you want to fight against yet again, and why is it North?
no, it's not North. I think I want to.
Yeah, we got one.
I want to play with Natives. I think because they kicked space, so they need to get punished for kicking space, you know. So that's it.
So tell me something. This is a really important question. When you look into the universe of One Piece, who's your favorite character?
Nico Robin or Mihawk. One of these two.
Respect.
I mean, I said pretty fast. Like.
That was really fast. That was.
yes.
You thought about this before.
No,
Thank
but
you so much, Cynthia.
I always think about it. Thanks.
Well, thank you for the interview. I'll see you soon and best of luck. Good job on the victory today.
Thank you. Goodbye.
They finally said it. Not Nord.
Such a wholesome chat as well.
Based as well, alright, to have that suggestion for the brand in the bot lane, you know, because I was thinking, like, how do you prep in a way that, you know, allows you to prep for light side, but also allows you to prep for your opponents, and having this kind of pick, evolving your team to be able to have these kinds of picks that light side themselves won't expect, that's probably the best way. Just evolve yourself in a more unique manner against light side, take them on where they are the weakest, but this could help them elsewhere. We talked about potential laning issues with Lingard and Simpy. This helps bypass those periods of the game because it's about that scaling and about Lingard's consistency and positioning in fights that matters the most. And on those aspects, he's always been pretty strong. He's always been pretty good. So I think identity-wise, this could do really, really well for them moving on into the future.
And important to remember as well, you know, humble Simpy as always, recognizing, you know, just taking a little bit of credit for the fact that the brand was his idea. The second you ask who it is, me, it was my idea. I said it 7 times in comms. I'm the one that wants to pick us the brand, and hey, you know, like Veteran said, right, having that idea, it paid off for them.
Yeah, it did pay off at the end. Now looking into the next game. This is a game that is looking at the bottom teams. Blue-White still waiting for their first victory. And on the other side, Verdant is looking for this stable week. They've been saying, well, we play way better than we are currently standing on the standings. So this could be a redemption arc for both of them. We're ending the first half of the split. I'm going to say it yet again. You're no longer allowed to say we're still adapting. This is it for both teams.
Yep.
We've banned that phrase on the NLC. It's no longer allowed. If you come into an interview with Arsharon, expect hell to be raised.
Yeah, but I mean, Blue-Whites are intending to come in with a custom-made win here, right? With that new substitute in the mid lane. They are optimizing. They feel they figured out their identity. It's now about getting the correct pieces to push that identity through. And mid lane, I mean, in Europe, if you're going to fix anywhere, that's probably the best place to go. Hopefully, this is the thing that they could do. And I would say, hopefully, if my boy X-Drop and my goat Karmsky weren't on the bot lane on the enemy team, I'm really looking forward to seeing these two and what they want to pull out this time. It's not just about the unique picks, right? X-Drop, Karmsky in that 2v2 lane have been insane. So MKR and Egets for Blue-Whites, they're the ones that have to hold them back. It was being very difficult for teams, including the favourite of everybody today except for one, Nord, to be able to hold back Verdant on there. That 2 and 4 is a little bit of a betrayal of how close a lot of those 4 were. They've literally been on the very brink of victory many times and just not quite able to pull it out. but I believe in these guys, especially with the advantages of being able to find 2v2 bot lane, to get an advantage they can push through. But Blue Whites, they've opted for one of the most powerful champions in the game, Tristana. Let's see
I wonder
if
what mid laner
Coaston
they're
will
going to
be able
match
to
it
not
with.
have the imp button. Yeah, I wonder.
Where's
Please
Corki?
not Corgi.
Whoa.
Please not.
Ashram, you a prophet? That would be crazy.
I want to see
I don't know.
Yasuo from Harbo into Tristana. Like, I want to see them delay the mid pick for an extended amount, see if the enemy opts into double AD carry, and then just slam that Yasuo. And that's honestly what I would like to see. The Kai'Sa would be a good thing that you could flex, potentially with mid in towards bot lane until the enemy commits. And if the enemy commits to a similar flex, it's likely to be of Ezreal or Corki, both of which Kai'Sa is really good into. Kai'Sa uniquely good into Tristana as well, because it's a very good anti-assassin pick, right? She's a very good assassin on her own terms. That gets a fat shield when she R's in, and you don't have the mobility to get away from her. She has her E for your R and her R for your W, or the other way around, and then likely a +1 on the flash there. That Kassadin hover is... I can't say the feelings it's giving me, but like I do love that. That makes me respect Custom all the more.
Well, yeah.
Cool, it's the flex. It's a double
There
flex.
you go.
So Varus can easily go mid lane as well, right? As you're highlighting here, this
double
is something
flex.
that had been played back in Deathfire Touch days of the masteries and runes and things like that. You used to see Varus mid lane a fair bit. This Syndra lock-in, though, a bit of a Harbo special. One of the picks that he's played very frequently and tends to default back to in most use cases. As long as you're holding scatter for when the Tristana jumps in, the matchup isn't particularly awful, but the Tristana can definitely have a decent time of things once they've got a couple of levels in. Obviously, Syndra, a notorious assassin as well in her own right, so getting to just a couple of items might be able to just delete Tristana on site.
Also, just if you're bad with that stun from the Syndra, the Tristana can all in and solo kill. We've seen that a lot. I just realized I was off camera, but I'm back now, guys. Don't worry about it. That Tristana should struggle in the laning phase early otherwise, but it's on Harbour to use the spells properly to be patient enough and not get baited by the potential threat Coastom has, assuming, of course, that the Tristana is going in the mid lane. It could still be a bot lane Tristana with a relatively safer Varus in mid. I would assume that would be less likely, though, because the Varus of low mobility, it feels like a really easy flash setup from Harbour. You don't have that buffer W like you have on Tristana on that stun.
It's looking towards supports, though, to get banned away from Karmsky as well, from Egets as well. A small world where this Maokai gets flexed into the support role, but highly doubt that that's going to end up being the case. With Nautilus Leona still available, both of these teams lacking the initial engage, I'd say. Chain of Corruption still possible, Maokai ulti is there, but for Blue Whites they probably want something a little bit more decisive. As for Verdant, definitely the case. Their form of engage comes from a rogue scatter, more pick focused for a composition thus far.
So you're allowing Xanta to go through, you're taking the other top laners?
Yeah, I mean, Gragas for me is the big pick. We're still looking at a reset composition on the right here with the Viego. You do have your lockdown, you do have your burst. You don't necessarily have that much displacement. You could count the Syndra as it may be. The Gragas would also be a good flex. Nautilus, though, they're just going all in on that bot lane all in, right? And now Syndra is left a little bit more open to abuse from the Leona, but the Nautilus does have better engage options on towards the Tristana later on. The Gnar will be tossed out there. One of the safest ones you can do. Now you have the option of trying to hard counter with the Yasuo, because the Yasuo, if you take that top lane here, is going to be really good into all three auto attackers, or the Jax also has similar properties, is really good into all three of the auto attackers, a little bit less so. I'm very Yasuo brained, as you may be able to notice, but this is a good counter pick. They have a really good counter pick on the top lane here. They have a really good midsection in terms of the priority it can have early, and then bot lane is going to be very much decided by how calmly they are able to get to that level 6, and if they're able to do so, they can win all in. So a lot of options for Verdant to take the win here, but if they mess up on any of these trades, you can clearly see how Blue Whites could turn it immediately. Then that Tristana could be popping off.
Yeah, I think the important part for Blue Whites, an area of the map they can look to try and exploit, is going to be down on that bot side. Kai'Sa relatively weak early stages, especially versus a Varus. Definitely an area of the map for Blue Whites to try and exploit, put extra behind. And I think that champion select removed, if you're looking at these two teams on paper without having picked champions, putting extra behind is a good way to go about winning this game.
Yeah, one last point that I want to make is that this Syndra is very, very, very open to abuse. Leona ultimate could immediately be followed by an Eye engage, by a Maokai engage. If this guy gets hit by anything CC-wise, he's clean off the map. That Scatter the Weak is not a massive 360 AoE. This guy gets attacked on the other side, say the Gnar is able to get flanks because he did well in lane in the range v melee. That could be a big problem. So looking at Harbo to pull off the potential man of the match performance, there's a lot of damage that they lose if they lose Harbo, and he's very vulnerable.
We've been talking about Blue Whites picking an easy to execute composition that fits them, not an easy to execute on the normal papers that fits you. Is this it? Is this the way you're going to finish the first half, with the win or with another loss? Well, it's up to the casters to tell us, as they're going to look into the Rift by Heprine and Foxtrot.
Thank you very much, guys. Getting ready to go into this third game of the day. Blue Whites, unfortunately, having a very, very rough split so far. Obviously, a late addition to the league, and now 0-3 in the standings. So they have some catching up to do, because as of today, I believe Archer said this is where we then move into the second half of the round robin, our second round of the robin, some might say. And yeah, I think, you know, going out 0-7 would suck. Absolutely suck. Oh, maybe it's 0-8. Maybe it's next week. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's next week. But either way, you know, going out 0-8 would absolutely suck. If you can get 1 or 2 wins here, especially towards the end, it proves that something is going right, and there's a world where you can then claw it back, because they've only just qualified. They don't want to be facing relegations. They don't want to be facing any of that.
Yes, this just in. Going 0-8, not good for the standings. Let's see if Blue Whites can avoid that as we head on to the Rift.
Here we are, on to the Rift for game number 3. Verdant, honestly struggling this split. 2-4, not having a great run. A team who, you know, expectations are high after last split. They were one of the big cheeses in the league at the time. They, you know, they kind of run everything. Obviously didn't actually win it all in the end, but had a very, very solid regular season. Now, on the lower end of the table. This is partly why I put my vote, because there was obviously some memes being thrown at me at the beginning of the day, because I put 1 point on Blue Whites here. I don't think Blue Whites are actually that bad of a team. I think Blue Whites, you know, there's obviously been some teething issues for this team. They, you know, they were dealt a bit of a rough hand. But I don't think they're a particularly bad team by any means. Verdant, on the other hand, I'm not going to say I think they're a bad team, but I don't think they've been that good. I think there's been a lot of mistakes, a lot of fumbles from them, and even in the 2 wins they have, I've not been particularly sold on those wins. So I do think if Blue Whites are to pick a win up, it's going to be Verdant or Natives. They're going to be those teams, and I think Natives, I mean, they looked better. Not Natives, sorry. Oh, who's the other 2-4 team? What a brain fart.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It is Natives. It is Natives. I just wrote it wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm an idiot. I feel like Natives looked way more convincing in their game today than I've seen, you know, some of the other teams. Some of the Verdant games, to be fair. So, my criticism of Verdant aside, we'll see how this game is going to go down, as Veloxia already having a pretty rough trade here versus Shihan. Shihan using the bush very effectively, but there is a fleet footwork, but the grasp constantly getting procced here by Shihan. 98 HP already for Veloxia, going very low at the start of this game.
Yeah, lots of aggression here in the top side of the map, which you kind of expect, to be honest. Oh, as I hold that, it's level 2 versus level 1. Calms is going to be taking a bit of damage there. Yeah, you kind of expect some aggression topside into Gnar, because Gnar is a ranged champion. Will just beat you unless you play aggressive, right? You think about some of these stereotypical historical counters into Gnar. You've got like the Yasuo's always been pretty good. Irelia,
they're not diving, right?
Irelia. I think they might do. They're thinking about it. He's only level 2.
They got to wait
out
the Narva.
Playing aggressive. Here we go.
They're going to look for it. He's just going to clear the wave. Gets the teleport in. He has the flash. He has the jump. Dopamine's able to get the kill, but the towers are going to be chasing him in. Custom chasing forwards. Dopamine going down. Custom has the reset. I don't expect to see him go further. They trade out for Luxia. Able to clear the wave and make that recovery come through. Very, very well played by him.
Yeah, 1 for 1 at the end of the day, and Dopamine losing a lot of jungle tempo here, whereas Jones can just full clear the rest of the jungle. So here, Jones is going to have a 3-camp advantage. We'll look for this crab or maybe even a bot lane play. Now, Verdant have to know that, I mean, this wave is pushing towards Blue Whites. They have to play this safe because Jones will be in the areas. Karmsky's taking a lot of damage again. Oh, they're in danger here.
Yeah, looks like they're chasing for it. You can see that Yone's actually finishing up the...
Oh, he misses it.
He smited too early. Karmsty's going down in the middle of the fight, though. E gets able to flash away. X-drop, sorry, getting jumped onto. MKR in the middle of the minion wave. No way he can go for that. Yones, he smited the crab. I just think he expected Dopamine would be on the other side of the rift, so he could just quickly clear the crab and then move over. Real fumble by him on that one.
To be fair, I'm surprised that Dopamine was there as well. Like, he started bot side, right, and got his blue buff, and then died and didn't path into his topside jungle at all, and just passed straight back for his bot side. Like, yeah, I think he knew. Dopamine was playing for his bot lane there. He wasn't playing for himself, wasn't playing for farming, which can be really risky, right? It's quite a flippy play. Because, you know, if there is no play happening, you've just completely wasted your time. And you could be really far behind the enemy jungler there. So, yeah, it does get a little bit lucky. He's thrown a bit of a bone by picking up that crab. Otherwise, yeah, could have found himself in a real tough spot. But to be honest, as far as everything goes, not too bad here for the Viego. Will lose his chickens, but that's about it. And a good start, though, for Verdun with that bot side especially. Kai'Sa 1-0-1. Not too bad.
Yeah, you definitely want to start accelerating that Kai'Sa. Do not want MKR taking over the lane. He was able to find a kill onto Karmsky, though, so he has also picked himself up some gold. Got the cull as well, and this is a press the attack Varus, so expect to see him actually going down the route of picking on hit.
I don't... whenever I see press the attack Varus is usually, like you say, on hit, right? It's an auto-attack focused build. But I always tend to see it into team comps that are really low range, and I just think, like, that can be so risky because it means Varus has to step up, right? He will have to step up, and that means you're stepping up close to a Nautilus who will just press R on you, a Syndra who you then get in range of the Q and the Scatter the Weak, a Jax who can jump on top of you, who besides, you know, with his Counter-Strike doesn't really care too much about your auto attacks regardless. I don't know, man. I feel like that's really risky to go on hit for MKR. I think MKR, especially on his Varus, he's played it a few times, has been very good actually here in the NLC. But I think he's made it hard for himself with this choice of itemization and potential play, yeah, for that bot side. I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, while we're talking about that, Vent have just rotated. I say unfortunately for Blue Whites. Not being biased, I promise. Actually, for Blue Whites, they are not positioned to be able to contest the grubs. And good rotation by Karmsky, actually, to come over and take, well, make it a 4 versus 3. And there will be an answer from Blue Whites. They are going to pick themselves up this Ocean Drake, grab themselves a little bit of extra lane sustain. It's nothing major. It's only, you know, the one Ocean. You're not going to be able to get any more, but it does accelerate a potential for a Dragon Wing condition. But realistically, I think Blue Whites are probably going to do what we've seen a lot today is the team who gets the first grubs often trades out for that second grub. So that's kind of my expectation, is we'll see them look to go and kind of collapse multiple members into the area for the second spawn of grubs so they can deny the 4 grubs and also just pick 3 up for themselves and don't have a disadvantage when it comes to taking the towers.
Yeah, exactly. We often, like you say, 3 grubs a piece, 1 dragon a piece. Generally seems to be how these things go.
Oh.
Dopamine sneaking in here. Yeah, Karmsky can set this one up. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, Hex Flash. Here we go.
And KR has hit that 6 mark. They're going to chase forwards and don't think they were able to find the opportunity. Barrier still available to MKR as well, so I think he was feeling pretty comfortable on that belt. is able to back off, and this is going to be good for Jones, because Jones was fresh on a reset. It's going AP first, so going the Leandries, and then I assume tank after that. So it's going to be squishy for a little while on this Maokai. Obviously, we'll have a bit of just a bit of health from that item, but it's nothing really too major. Still going to be relatively susceptible for Dopamine to find a kill onto, but it does make checking bushes a lot scarier, where the damage you'll be taking from a Leandry sapling will absolutely melt through your health bar. So next Dragon, next Grubs, if Blue Whites are able to move into the area first, checking those bushes is going to be even more risky for them, as Calm Sky closing in on that level 6 mark. You can see X-Drop's just about to tick over to level 7. I think until Calm Sky hits level 6, though, they're going to have to be very careful, because Egits has that ultimate, the Solar Flare, available to them.
Exactly, that is tough. The combo is pretty strong, but they're so vulnerable down bot side as well. You know, like, as soon as Kalmsky hits level 6, especially, there's not too much stopping this Varus just from getting focused down. If Dopamine's in the area, then that should just be a free kill, so gonna have to wait and chill. The fact that Dopamine is not completing this recall, to me, suggests that he knows Kalmsky's potentially about to ding 6, or he doesn't trust that this fight might not break out, as here it comes.
Oh, they get the chains down. MKR's putting some serious damage out. X drops in for hurt. They're going to get the last one and take it out. Beautiful little pickup there. Now the jump forward. MKR with the flash out of the ultimate, and now Jones throwing down the twisted advance. X-Drop may find himself caught out, has to flash away from that one. Dopamine finds himself in danger. Zenith Blade connects. They've got the lockdown, they've got the stun, they've got the arrow. Dopamine flashes away to safety. He's going to chase forward onto MKR. MKR just dodging everything thrown at him. Really, really well played by the Blue Whites ADC. X-Drop was luckily able to get himself out of dodge as well, but ultimately that's a 3-1 Varus now.
No, that's quality stuff. MKR, honestly, I think is so good. He's been, for me, the shining point of Blue Whites. I know we talked a bit about custom in the pre-show, I believe, and just like, you know, the strength of this mid laner for Blue Whites, but just MKR consistently, I feel like, has good movements, good mechanics, and outplays bot lanes here in the NLC, which is very impressive, again, when you think about the conditions to which Blue Whites showed up here in the NLC. They weren't supposed to be here, right? They got here as a kind of by default with Lion's Creed dipping out, and it's just, yeah, he's great. He's really great, and I did say, like, I wasn't a fan of this on-hit build, and I'm not changing against that, but if there is someone who I have faith could pilot it, it is that man down in the bot lane. We'll have to see how that one navigates itself as we move forward here in this game.
Dopamine's coming over. One grub already picked up. They find themselves a hook on to Custom. Custom's in danger. X-Drop's chasing down to get the chains off here from the Varus. A lot of damage onto X-Drop from MKR, and Custom still living it. The Solar Flare comes through, and Verdant going a little bit low, but they don't have their top laner in the area, so the last 2 grubs will get picked up by the side of Verdant. Actually, only 1 grub. Interesting. So I don't know what happened there. Hold on. Oh, there it is. The overlay bugged out for a brief second. It said they only had 4, but they finally got 5. So that is a big pickup there for Verdant. Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, and Custom, no flash, no teleport, no flash, no barrier on MKR. MKR should be close to barrier, but won't have it in time. Hasn't actually cashed in on that Cole, and a big wave crashing up here. Veluxia will have the teleport for the Dragon, though, so I expect to see a little bit more action once Veluxia can actually join his team. And Sheehan committed the teleport for that grub play, so this will now be Blue White's turn to have an advantage on the map.
There's 2 things about this, though, which, in my opinion, make that TP for Sheehan totally worth it. The first of which is grubs on a hard split pushing champion like Jax is fantastic. You absolutely live for that. That's beautiful stuff. Secondly, the fact that you now know that Sheehan doesn't have TP and is going to commit to topside, even if Veluxa does teleport in, join his team, hold that though is hard to be caught.
MKR 6 seconds off the ultimate. Dopamine going to get heavily chunked out, but he's able to avoid getting the full satchel charge set up onto him.
Yeah, Blue Whites will be able to set up down here though, knowing that, you know, Veluxa has that teleport, and Verdant will most likely respect that one. But the thing is, like, even if Veluxa does leave topside and goes to fight with his dragon, Sheehan is going to get so much topside right? Like, he has his Triforce complete. He's got Demolish as well. That top lane tower is almost dead anyway, and it would be first tower. Plates are still up too. Like, it's kind of a lose-lose situation if you're Veluxa here, and if you're Blue-Whites. Like, you don't want him to leave Dragon. Leave for Dragon, leave that top lane. It's a toughie here, and Verdant might just be able to leverage that and actually take the Dragon for themselves, or at least deny it for the time being. And yeah, it's just the power of a champion like this Jax, you know, when it gets ahead and when it gets strong, and that spike on the Triforce really is significant.
The big thing for me is also if you look at the bases and like the items. So MKR has just gone back and bought the Blade of the Ruined King. A little sad, they were 3 minions off cashing their Cullen. Custom just cashed their Cullen, but is sitting on enough gold to finish up their first item. But with the Dragon threat, they couldn't really go for the reset. Now, they are finally going to get it off. This should be the Kraken Slayer finished up for Custom, if not close. Yep, there it is. We're going to sell that Cull as well and cash in towards the next item, which I expect to be the Flicker Blades. Dragon now spawned up, and the ADCs are on the map here for the side of Blue-Whites, and they've spent that gold as Shihan popping the helicopter. Alexia just can get a little bit of poke damage off, but it looks like Verdant just going to pick this Dragon up uncontested. No opportunity for any contest to come in. Reset actually coming in from MKR. Now the Cole's finished, and probably be a little bit closer to another item off the back of that.
And that's the toughie, isn't it? That's the toughie when you can't contest it 4v4. You can't use that TP advantage because of how much you'd lose topside. And yeah, that's so. Verdant picked up the Grobs and the Dragon in that set of rotation there. They set themselves up for a very nice mid game in this one here, and even though the goal totals look quite similar, when you're looking at, you know, like mid lane and specifically them MKR as well, to be honest, as far as the state of the game goes and the win conditions of the game, you still have a Syndra that's, you know, doing fine, like still really strong, who can one-shot all of these squishies, one-shot the Tristana and the Varus. And, you know, you've got to answer Jax. I don't think Blue-Whites have an answer for that, at least not right now. They're going to have to maybe ignore Jax, get Gnar, holding that top lane by himself, and instead just trying to find those fights across the map.
Looks like Velixia might find himself in a dive scenario. About to build up that Gnar bar, though. Can he get enough in time? He can't! Down he goes! Meanwhile, Karnsky and Xdrop find themselves in a whole heap of danger. Xdrop has to flash away from the play. That Gnar bar was fractions of a second from coming up, and I actually think with Custom there, they could have turned it. Xdrop finds himself in danger. The Zenith Blade does connect. They do get the lockdown. The teleport's coming in. They're going to put some serious damage in onto Xdrop, but he's able to answer out with a kill. That's MKR getting his. Interrupt from the Buster Shot of Custom to stop Shihan from being able to defend. So the tower goes down. So does his ADC. Really nice there from Custom to be able to hold that, but his mid tower is going to take a whole heap of damage. Veluxia is going to have to teleport to protect this one.
Yeah, we're trading things all across the map at this point, aren't we? Gosh, I was playing bot, playing top, playing mid. So many things going down right here. It's Verdant trying to punish a potential overstay, but that one's not going to happen. Instead, Shihan now recalling as well. Curious to see what his next time will be. You often see things like the Hull Breaker, but it could be Shojin as well. You see that something moat, I don't know what it's called, but I think that means he's going into the Shojin. So far that could be Shojin as well, so yeah, he's going to be really strong. Endless pressure, constant uptime. He could just be raid boss as this game goes on. And again, I know I'm harping on it and I know I'm saying the same things over and over really, but if you are Blue-Whites in this game, that's what you have to think about. It's that win condition for Verdant that you're trying to counter. You know, you do need to have an answer for Shihan on this Jax. So far, they haven't been able to find it. But they still do have strength, you know, right? Like 5-1 Varus is nothing to sniff at. Whether or not they can use it to its full effectiveness remains to be seen.
It's going to be the Leandry's obviously finished up onto Yones, and he's still got to finish up his jungle item. He's got a couple of treats left to get. Oh no, he's finished it now.
Has he?
That was okay. No, it was there for a second and then it disappeared just as he moved in. That's weird. I don't know what happened there, but okay. He is
You've been baited a lot by that.
I apparently need to get my eyes tested. I think that's what's going on for me. He's still very squishy, though. This is what I was talking about in the Maokai. Like, eventually, he'll be able to output a little bit of damage for the team, but also, most crucially, will be a lot tankier. But at the moment, he's sitting on just health, basically. Got the Ruby Crystal, got the Leandries. some work to do as we're seeing MKR getting close towards that. I believe this will be a Gwynzy's second for him on the Varus. Yep, there it is, finished up. And Custom still got to finish up that Flicker Blade as Yones just putting together the last of his jungle camps and getting himself some gold. So he can actually start to be a bit more of a frontline. Because at the moment, is probably the best frontliner they've got with the Warmogs, Leona.
Yeah, this is it. It's difficult when you have this popular Leandri's build on Maokai. It's very strong, and it is good and specific with your sapling and even your ulti. It has good synergy with that as you start a team fight. You can do really a lot of poke before a team fight starts. People face check your saplings especially, but yeah, you're not tanky. You know, you're not a frontline. You're not someone that really can absorb a lot of punishment. And then if on your team you're just trying to buy time.
Oh my word, Custom.
Ooh, okay, that's quite aggressive.
That pink ward is not going down under his watch.
It literally jumped into it as well. Committed a full-on cooldown for it too. Yeah, he was very protective over that pink ward. Fair enough. He comes to engage mid. Kamsky should be able to walk away from that. As here, oh gosh, we're getting the turnaround now.
Onto Eagets. They do get the lockdown though with the chains. The Scatter the Weak comes out. A lot of damage. Kamsky is actually the one to secure the kill, but that is going to be an answer out. Yones picks himself a kill up. Dopamine very, very low. Custom chasing forwards. Did have the flash. I'm glad he didn't commit with it. And that could just be the dragon picked up here for Blue Whites. I think they're going to be able to answer that one out. The Kamsky down, they don't have the engage, and you're going to be moving through sapling territory to try and stop this from going down.
That's it. Pretty good actually picking up from Blue Whites, considering they'd really lost a lot of their control over the map here. Being able to still take up that dragon is good stuff. I'll happily take that one. And this is what I was mentioning with the fights and the strong carries that you have here for Blue Whites. You can win these fights if you can force them, and not just let Jax, who's basically a ticking time bomb in these side lanes, to just have his way with the turrets.
They're doing damage. In comes Sheehan on the flank. Gets the counter strike onto 2. MKR able to break away from this. Everyone is low HP. X-Drop being chased onto us. To jump the wall with the killer instinct, but Custom's keeping the damage into him. Custom secures the kill. Beautiful little engage from Sheehan, but his team unfortunately just melts as Custom continues to chase forwards on the Tristana. Kamsky needs to be careful now as he gets very close to him. Not going to be able to pick the kill up. Tower should collapse here to the side of Blue Whites. They're able to get it. Custom should have his Flicker Blade off the back of this one, but that is a 5-1 Varus as well. Very, very strong MKR is right now.
He is, and it's just whether or not he can find that space, get those auto attacks down without being smothered by the side of Verdant. And to be honest, that last engage from Sheehan is a really good opportunity and a good demonstration of what Verdant can do against this Blue Whites comp. Unfortunately for them, MKR had the flash available, and the rest of Verdant weren't able to follow up, so he gets away with it. There's still a bit a question mark for me as to whether or not you should even play for the team in that situation, whether you should even be going for that collapse there as Sheehan, because you can see he bumps down these towers pretty quickly at this point.
Oh
even
my
just trades like this. Yeah,
he threw the ultimate. He committed everything. Valencia very close to getting himself in, but they're going to get the damage down. The lock-in is there from the Varus. They secure the kill on the Custom as well. So another injection of gold into the Tristana, making sure that Custom and MKR are both equally as strong, equally as impactful in the fight, so it makes it harder to prioritize which one to kill. But Sheehan, he is a serious problem down here. Got the helicopter popped, gets the flash out! Sheehan! Solo kill in the bot lane!
They don't have an answer for it. Blue Whites are in a lot of trouble right now. If Jax can 1v1 dive the Gnar, that's a no bueno. Yeah, Custom's dead as well in the top side.
I don't know what he was doing.
That's an oopsie. 2 members now dead. 3. Wait, Malco just respawned. Yeah, 2 members have just died for Blue Whites. I don't know if Verdant. I mean, they're spam pinging the Nash, but I'm not sure if that's the play. Like whether they'll have the time to do it. I actually think Blue Whites are gonna give it up if it comes to it. Yeah, instead though, just gonna get those kills. Fortunately for Blue Whites, those picks aren't gonna turn into anything too significant. But Sheehan's got 2 towers from that play and a kill. He's gonna go back. He's gonna buy that Shojin. He's gonna get pretty far to whatever he wants next, but it's Hullbreaker, whether it's the Sundered Sky. whatever he fancies. Zhonya's instead.
I've
As
seen
you
this.
do.
I've seen. It's been a hot minute since I've seen the old Jax of Azonias.
Yes.
I like
It
this.
has been. It has
Big
been.
fan.
I don't know if I'm not. I don't know, to be to be
I'm an
I don't know.
enthusiast of it.
I think it's good for team fighting. So if he wants to group, I think it's decent. But I don't really think he needs to. So yeah. But it's
Ooh,
whatever.
Jones.
We'll see it. I'm sure we'll get some cool plays off, and we'll be calling him a genius for buying it.
I think he's obviously leaning to. He knows he just wins the 1v1 versus Veluxia, so the Hull Breaker isn't too important for him right now. So I think in his head he's like, Zhonya's means I can actually help in the team fights and I can contribute outside of there. Where Veluxia is just struggling to do anything really. 0-3-0 on the Nutter, incredibly behind. There's a 3,000 gold lead between the top laners right now. And, there's a 3,000 gold lead in this game for Verdant, and it is entirely in Sheehan's pocket. Outside of that, it's actually 1,000 gold on to their ADC, but you can see Veluxia just holding his own for the moment versus Sheehan, but this wave is in such a dire state that Blue-Whites probably just need to commit for a fight. They find the hook. They're immediately going to jump off the X-Drop on the back line. Calm Sky's taking a whole heap of damage. MKR is able to pick him up, and now they're looking to lock down onto Harbo. Harbo's next up on the menu. X-Drop throws the ultimate down just to break away. What is going on in the bot lane, though, is Sheehan is just finishing up the tower. Veluxia is going to die. Sheehan might just be able to end the game if they can't stop this, if they can't get the recalls off. MKR is going to go down to Dopamine and X-Drop, and Blue-Whites are scattered in what to do. Sheehan pops the stopwatch. There's a Buster Shot available. He's going to send him packing. He's keeping the damage up. The Flicker Blade's there. Custom gets the shutdown, finds the kill, but ultimately, this will be a dragon over to Verdant.
Just happening everywhere, Jake. It's just non-stop action. This bot side with Jax is a complete lost cause now for Blue-Whites. But Blue-Whites were able to get a pretty good fight into that mid side, and I was sitting there thinking, like, come on, Verdant, like, your win condition. Like, Sheehan will just end the game. You just don't get caught, don't fight on the rest of the map, and you're fine. Unfortunately, that did happen, but then somehow they also turned it around and are now able to get Dragon as well. Like, it's just, yeah, they're able to have their cake and eat it too. Sheehan getting this bot in here now creates so much pressure for this Baron play, right? So this is definitely what's going to be next on the docket here for Verdant. They have an endlessly pushing bot wave now with those super minions, and Sheehan can either look to go bot again and either like solo kill Veluxia and potentially end the game if he really thinks he can do that, or more likely, start working a different lane, start getting different turrets, maybe even group up for this Nash play. But again, it comes down to patience, right? A lot of it's patience. Wait for those super minions to push in bot side before you do anything. Blue-White's now caught between a rock and a hard place in their decision making as to how they defend this Nash.
Yeah, when you have a top lane who just cannot hold even under tower, just the pressure that it builds just makes it so hard for them. They're looking to turn their eyes towards this Baron. Blue-Whites are going to have to win one hell of a fight. Veluxia has that teleport available. There's nowhere really for him to go. They do place the ward down. They do spot him out. Baron gets stopped for now, and Veluxia continues to hold the waves. He's just going to go back and spend, waiting for an opportunity. Dopamine losing a fair amount of HP. Egit is going to chase forward onto Sheehan. Sheehan chases forward. He gets himself the lockdown. Custom is immediately popped. The damage is coming out from MKR, but there's going to be the Zhonya's from Sheehan. In comes Veluxia. MKR flashes away. He's locked down. He's down. That's going to be the pickup for Verdant. All of the carries are dead. Veluxia too slow to the play. Too weak to turn it around. Blue-Whites are left with nothing.
And Verdant are now left with this bot lane pushing in so close to the Nexus. Jones, I'm not quite sure. Maybe he thought Verdant, I don't know what he thought there, but he tried to call out the minion wave to try and save the game here, but it's not gonna happen. Verdant, it was a hard fought game, and it all came down to the back of that man you can see smiling smugly at the bottom right of your screen. Sheehan, Mr. Spin the Block, top gap to the highest degree. And Verdant pick up their third win of the season.
4,000 gold, give or take, over to Sheehan in that game. He was absolutely miles ahead of his opponent, and it's just that game is so hard because I feel like for the side of Blue-Whites, everything else was great, but top lane was on fire so bad that there was no answer to it. Like, they couldn't hold against the Jax, because you like, who actually goes toe to toe with the Jax? There is no one in the team who could. And then in the team fight situations, they were going even, and then Sheehan started showing up and absolutely popping people. Really, really solid performance from them. And I don't know, man. That's a hard ask, that one, for the side of
it's tough.
Blue Whites.
It's tough. Honestly, it's just one of those situations. If you can't hold him by yourself, then you have to be so like opportunistic and quick with your map movements to get a cheeky little like collapse onto Jax, kill him, and not actually lose something on the rest of the map, which is so difficult to do. And obviously, Blue Whites weren't able to do it. And then, yeah, Shihang joining the fights. MKR, a lot of it came down onto his shoulders. And I said it. I think, you know, you just have to get too close. You have to get too close with the Varus, and in that team fight, he got too close, and Jax jumped on him and killed him. So. Tough one, really tough one there. Blue Whites again showing some life, but at the end of the day, Verdant come out on top.
Well, with that, Blue Whites unfortunately go 0-7, so tomorrow is their last chance to find a win before we get halfway through the split. On the other side, though, we do have Ruddy versus Nord coming up, our match of the day, really. So it's all to play for in that one. We'll see you after this break.
Break it down, break it down. Step on the gas, let's get out of town. We're gonna break out and have some fun. We're gonna do what we never done. Oh yeah, yeah. Come on, take your body with